Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I am your host, John Herold. Got a good chat rolling already. Nice to see everybody. As I said last night on Basis Conspiracies, we need all you chat lurkers out there that don't ever pop into the chat to start doing so, because we're in this thing called the Rumble Creator Program, and you have to use a Rumble Studio, which I do for this show, and Brian does it for Badlands Daily, and then we do it for most of the nighttime shows. And in the creator program, to get paid from it, you have to stream so many times from Rumble Studio. You have to get so many views through the stream. You have to do so many premium hours, 5 hours a month of premium subscriber only streams, which we normally do for replays. And then you also have to now have at least 20 unique chatters. And we have well above that without lurkers joining the chat. But we believe they're going to pay out more based on the number of chatters you have. So we want to get as many of you guys to just check in, say hi, hit that thumbs up as we can. And we got a great chat group. They will be very welcoming as long as you're not mean. So maybe says, does calling you gay count? Yes, that counts. You can come in and call me gay. I don't care. You won't be banned for that. But no, should have I don't have a ton of stuff to talk about, so it might be on the shorter side, but there is still some good things to discuss. The biggest news of today is the passing of the big, beautiful bill. So we'll get into that right off the top after we get a quick word from the sponsors of today's show. And first up, we got MyPillow. Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank listeners for all the continued support. Mike has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of their life. He didn't stop by creating the best pillow. He created the best bed sheets ever. Mike is offering the best deal on his Percale bed sheets. You can get a set for as low as $24.98. The MyPillow Percale sheets are breathable and have a cool, crisp feel. They have deep pockets to fit over any mattress. They look great and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep, which is crucial for anybody's schedule. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you will receive $100 in free digital gifts. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code Badlands to receive the MyPillow Percale sheets for as low as $24.98. You can also call 1-800-795-5154. And we also got an appearance from our friends over at Van Man. Van Man is taking down big toothpaste with all natural oral care. Just pure, effective ingredients for a healthy smile. The Van never stops. Powered by hydroxyapatite, nature's secret weapon, loaded with minerals like eggshells and bone, two of the best forms of calcium to remineralize teeth and build strong bone tissue. Van Man's tooth powder, combined with pulling oils and peppermint aloe mouth rinse, is truly the ultimate fluoride-free dental hygiene bundle, and it saves you 25% off the individual prices. Head on over to badlandsmedia.tv/vanman to hop in the van for the ultimate way to care for your teeth naturally. All right. Oh, whoops. I got to get that out of the way. Okay. Well, yeah, guys, this just broke like 10 minutes ago. They finally, or maybe it was like an hour. I don't remember. It was within the last hour. We got the passing of the big, beautiful bill. JD Vance had to come down and cast the tie-breaking vote.
The yeas are 50. The nays are 50. The Senate being evenly divided, the vice president votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
There you go. They passed it. They had a tie. I think Tillis voted against it. There was, who else? I don't remember the other ones. It doesn't really matter at this point. It's going back to the House now, and the House has to vote to pass the Senate version. I'm not sure we'll get the votes. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if we're going to get it by the deadline either. And guys, I knew this was going to pass anyway. I'm not necessarily excited about it. I talked about that on my show yesterday. I don't like how big the bill is. I don't like adding to the debt limit. I do like some of the things in there. But yeah, we'll see what the House does with it. We shall see. Ty Indie Boy says, Baseless last night has me asking so many questions this morning. So much good news. Love your skepticism. Yeah, having Nick on was the first time I've ever met him. Thought he's a good dude. He's one of Zach's friends. I need to get more. I need to see more and see like more actual evidence, because you guys know how I feel about people who claim like inside access or insider source. I always get skeptical of those kind of claims. And a lot of what he said is stuff that was kind of like we kind of already talk about. You know what I mean? Like a lot of stuff has already been assumed. It's I don't know. It fed a lot of people's confirmation bias for sure. And I'm not saying I don't trust him. I just need to see the proof. So we'll see. Next week should be another good one. Hopefully he brings some of those audio recordings and some other receipts. But yeah, it was a good episode. I would encourage you guys to go check it out. He's got a great story. Yes, Betzel, great story. But no evidence. That's just what I need to see. That's what I need to see. One thing from the Big Beautiful Bill is the Senate failed to boot illegal aliens from Medicaid through the Big Beautiful Bill. How this is even in there in the first place is kind of remarkable. Yeah, the Senate on Monday failed to approve a provision to remove illegal aliens from Medicaid, despite a majority of lawmakers approving the measure. The plan was originally included in the Big Beautiful Bill and was expected to need a simple majority to clear the chamber, though Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough determined that it would need 60 votes to pass. A lot of people are giving the parliamentarian, an unelected person, a lot of flack, and some of it is definitely deservedly so. But the way they're doing this bill, the reconciliation process, like there are specific requirements that the bill needs to fit in order for them to vote that way. And this is one of those things that it according to her, did not meet that requirement. And I'd be curious to read more into it and see exactly why. But yeah, they got the 56-44 vote. So a lot of Democrats did not vote in favor. And I do think Majority Leader John Thune should fire her. But here's the thing, guys. If she is right, and I'm not saying she is, but if she is right about the rule, if she was right about the rule, but they didn't vote on it this way, if they voted it for the reconciliation process, the whole bill probably potentially could have been challenged in court. And what would that have done? You know what I mean? Like if it's a type of provision that doesn't meet the requirements for a reconciliation vote, which only needs simple majority and not 60 votes, and they include it, and it's later determined that, yeah, it didn't meet the requirements of a reconciliation bill, that could cause legal challenges later. But hey, this is one of those things. We could do a line item vote, right? As we all want anyway. The big drama, though, is Elon Musk and how hard he is coming out against the bill, to the point of saying, again, he is going to launch a third party if the mega bill passes, which it's well on its way to. Elon Musk said Monday he would follow through on threats to establish a third party if President Donald Trump's big beautiful bill is enacted by Congress. By the way, Chuck Schumer had a provision in there to remove the title of the big beautiful bill, so it's no longer called that, I don't think. Anyway, Musk said on X, his America Party will be formed the next day after its passage. He posted as the Senate moved closer to a final vote. He calls it an insane domestic policy bill. Our country needs an alternative to the Democrat-Republican uniparties so that people actually have a voice, he continued. A third party in a fraudulent election system is stupid. I think this is stupid. It's also stupid, like Elon Musk he's losing a lot of subsidies in the bill. Like that's why he's so, I wouldn't say his arguments against it are based on his principles. He has financial incentive to not have the bill passed. Like I don't have the financial incentive. I don't have subsidies that are going to be stripped out of the bill. I don't have subsidies at all. I based on the principles of a 1,000+ page bill and raising the debt limit, I'm not thrilled about it. But he's mad. He's losing a lot of money over this. What else they say? Every member of Congress who campaigned on reducing government spending and then immediately voted for the biggest debt increase in history should hang their heads in shame. They will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth. Is he talking about before he goes to Mars or before he dies? Curious. Musk's opposition to the mega bill, which could cripple the renewable energy industry while adding trillions to the national debt, led to a public break with the president shortly after his time as a federal government employee. You know, I did see this post too. And I don't fully understand, but I'm going to read it, okay? Because maybe I'll fully understand it as I read it. Lauren Boebert shared it, says this is bad. And then this is Alex Epstein. It's an unfortunate last name. It says Senate fails to terminate Green New Scam. The Senate bill looks like it has a 2027 placed in service cutoff for new solar wind subsidies. But one last minute paragraph makes it worthless because projects making a recoverable 5% investment in the next 12 months are exempt. The idea of a 2027 placed in service cutoff was that new subsidies would actually end during the Trump administration. But under the last minute carve out, Big Green has 12 months to initiate as many subsidized projects as it wants using the insanely easy to meet construction threshold. All you need to do is commit 5% of expected project costs to buying resellable assets like solar panels. Once they declare construction, for example, in July 2026, they'll have 4 years to July 2030 to place in service. And then some of the projects, most wind projects, will get 10 years of subsidies. So we'll still have wind subsidies on Donald Trump's 94th birthday. Here's how much worse the Senate bill just got. 2 days ago, placed in service by 12/31/27, with new subsidized solar wind projects stopping very quickly and Trump being able to let subsidies truly end. Today, placed in service by July 2030, with new subsidized solar wind projects absolutely spamming the RID and ripping off taxpayers like never before, and Trump having no control over whether subsidies end. The current Senate bill is arguably worse than the original Senate finance one. At least the bill decreased solar wind subsidies starting in 2026 to 60%. The current bill just increased them to 100%. The current bill is a solar wind lobbyist dream. It does not terminate the Green New Scam in any way, shape, or form. It absolutely perpetuates it, and offensively so, I might add, by keeping the placed in service cutoff language so many people courageously fought for, then totally undoing it with a single last-minute paragraph that makes it worthless. If the Senate wanted to extend the Green New Scam, it should have said so, not insulted our intelligence by trying to bury the extension in one sneaky little paragraph. P.S. Several senators have already told me they didn't know about or understand this last-minute paragraph. If that's the case, they should do whatever they can to fix the situation. They should also be fired because that's ridiculous. I'm going to retweet that thing because that is kind of nuts. And I wonder how you guys feel about that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of things in this bill that are good, but there's a lot of things in this bill that aren't good. It's hard to imagine a nearly 1,000-page bill having only things that are good. And I just want to, I would much rather see line item voting, but I don't always get my way. I understand that. Oh yeah, Trump also said this on True Social regarding Elon Musk. Elon Musk knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the electric vehicle mandate. It is ridiculous, and it was always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everyone should be forced to own one. Elon may get more subsidy than any human being in history, by far, and without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back home to South Africa. No more rocket launches, satellites, or electric car production, and our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we should have Doge take a good, hard look at this. Big money to be saved. So in a way, Trump is kind of threatening Elon with Doge. And then I believe he actually said this, right here. So Trump visited the alligator Alcatraz today, and this is one of his comments.
Doge is going to look at Musk. And if Doge looks at Musk, we're going to save a fortune. Thank you very much, everybody.
He said it there. He said it here. I'm not going to play the full thing.
Great enthusiasm, as you know. And I think in the end, we're going to have it. What do you think, Caroline? Yeah, I think the last thing we need is a communist. A lot of fun with him. Crazy. We will have a communist. What about the people that are there? EV mandate, and we've said he's that. Who? What happened to Elon Musk? Nothing. He's upset. He's losing his EV mandate, and he's he's very upset about things, but he could lose a lot more than that. I can tell you right now. Hey, Elon can lose a lot more than that.
Stop it there. I still don't understand why they always do these little press things right outside the helicopter. Like, go into the entryway of the White House so it's not so darn loud. It's ridiculous. You can barely hear anything. But yeah, so I think that's all I got on the big, beautiful bill for today anyway. I might have more later. I don't remember. We'll see. And we'll see if anything comes up. No update as of yesterday on the Doge website. Speaking of Doge, there's a ton of new stuff on the White House website, though. First, they did an EO simplifying the funding of energy infrastructure and critical mineral and material projects. So that's a win. Anytime they cut away the red tape and make it easier for infrastructure to be developed and put in place, to me, those are good things. We have a presidential permit authorizing Steel Reef U.S. Pipelines, LLC, to operate and maintain pipeline facilities at Burke County, North Dakota, at the international boundary between the United States and Canada. So nice little shout out to my home state, North Dakota. Then another one, to same company. No, sorry, Southbow USA LP, to operate and maintain pipeline facilities at Cavalier County, North Dakota. So two of them there. They revoked some Syrian sanctions. They issued a new national security presidential memorandum, and this one, it has to do with Cuba. I'm a big fan of the NSPMs. There's still a lot that from Trump's first term that we don't know anything about. And it's also kind of funny. Let me show you this. National security. Sorry, I just got to type this in. And go to this website. Okay, so these are all Trump's first term NSPMs. If you followed my series at all, you're familiar with this. I still think it's hilarious. Presidential directives in the second Trump administration beginning in 2025 are also somewhat confusingly designated NSPMs because there's a break in between. And he's like, why are they calling it the same thing? But maybe it's just a continuation. And he's only got 5 of them so far. The 5th one isn't on the website yet. But yeah, it's this one having to do with Cuba. Reissuance of and amendments to National Security Presidential Memorandum 5 on strengthening the policy of the United States towards Cuba. And you know what? That's interesting. So the new NSPM 5, National Security Presidential Memorandum, NSPM 5, is reissuing the old NSPM 5, strengthening the policy of the United States towards Cuba. That is silly. Maybe just coincidence. I don't know, but interesting. Back to here, we have another presidential permit authorizing Junction Pipeline Company to construct, connect, operate, and maintain pipeline facilities at Toole County, Montana, at the international boundary between the United States and Canada. That's another win, cutting red tape, allowing permits to go through. That's only going to benefit the bottom line of the United States. And we have a whole host of nominations that were sent to the Senate. Most of these are attorneys, but I went through. I didn't see any names that jumped out at me. Alina Habba's in there. Yeah, that might be the only one that really jumped out. So that's on the website. Let's see. What are you guys saying in the chat? Lots of new peeps in the chat. I like it. I like it too. Spetzel, John's back to claiming that North Dakota actually exists. Faking gay, no proof. Cece in the chat, if she's still there, can verify it. She's been here. Remember when, from Clutchworks, remember when Elon just bandwagoned either the Trump campaign, then hailed Hitler? LOL, fun times. When the whole initial Trump-Musk breakup happened, I'm pretty sure it was the night before it even kicked off. We were doing a power hour, me and Bernie Bright, and I was like, I don't know, man. It might be legit. It might be a legit little breakup. Trump could have just been riding his coattails, and I still don't know. I don't know if we'll get full resolution. They could be creating distance between themselves for a reason, and this is just another avenue for that. I think we'll see as things play out. Hard to know for sure right now. Let's go through some articles on the Badlands Media website. Hershey is going to eliminate synthetic dyes from snacks by 2027. Hershey Co. announced it will remove synthetic dyes from its snack products by the end of 2027, joining a growing list of major food companies making similar commitments following the recent FDA action to phase out petroleum-based food dyes. So that's it's never a bad thing. And speaking of RFK Jr., this is probably one of the bigger stories from yesterday. He went on with Tucker, and this is what he had to say.
What you would do if you wanted to find the answer, which is to compare outcomes in a fully vaccinated group to health outcomes in an unvaccinated group. And the CDC did that study in 1999. They brought in a team of scientists under a Belgian researcher named Thomas Verstraeten, and they looked at the data. They looked at children who had received the hepatitis vaccine within the first 30 days of life and compared those children to children who had received the vaccine later or not at all. And they found an 1,135% elevated risk of autism among the vaccinated children. And it's...
You guys catch that? An 1,135% increase in autism risk or elevated risk in people who take the Hep B vaccine.
Elevated risk of autism among the vaccinated children. And it shocked them. They kept the study secret, and then they manipulated it through 5 different iterations to try to bury the link. And, we know how they did it. They got rid of all the older children, essentially, and just had younger children who were too young to be diagnosed. And they stratified the data, and they did a lot of other tricks. And all of those studies were the subject of that kind of trickery.
Man, I wonder how many other studies are out there like this, where the CDC or the powers that be, where they did these studies and found risk factors with these vaccines, but they buried them because of financial motives or whatever motives they had. Financial probably being one of the big ones. There's got to be a ton of them. I mean, it happened with COVID, happened with Hep B. What else? When my kids were born, it was before I woke up. But the hepatitis vaccines, we didn't do it. Like, they didn't make sense to me. Like, why are we doing? We might have done one of them, but we didn't do it Hep B and we didn't do Hep C. Maybe we didn't do them all. I don't remember for sure, but I know we didn't do the Hep B one. So that's a win. But there's so many more vaccines that the kids get when they're young and as they're growing up that it makes you wonder, makes me regret not waking up sooner and getting them vaxxed at all. I know there's more and more of that going on. People are going away from the vaccine schedule. And when the schools request it, you need to get your vaccine schedule, and I always basically tell them to F off. We know HPV had the same. Later polio vaccines had the same. Which don't? That's what I'm saying. Probably all of them. Gator Rob, 117% positive. One of my sons got autism through vaccines. Got 5 in one day. MMR probably the worst. Doctors claimed it was perfectly okay. I feel like a lot of people out there have a little touch of the tism. I think I have a little tism. That's where I get my research OCD from. I think maybe it's not that, but I claim it. But it's an epidemic in this country, and it's manufactured in a lot of ways. DCool3, why did the reporter from the Pentagon get fired just for asking questions? I'm hoping to have her on this week talking about Gabrielle Cuccia. I just got to reach out to her. I haven't done it yet. But yeah, we're gonna get to the bottom of that. Cub34 says hi for the algorithm only. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, guys. Appreciate you supporting us in all the ways that we need. Supreme Court agrees to hear GOP challenge to campaign spending limits. This is a story yesterday. I think I had it up. I don't know if I talked about it, but this is, I love seeing stuff like this. Anything that goes after the campaign infrastructure is a win. We need to get rid of lobbying. We need to get rid of all the big money in politics. Such an issue. And we just got a great example of that with this story here that I showed earlier. This one with the Green New Deal that they're basically leaving in there. He called it a lobbyist stream. If there's nobody lobbying for this and paying money to politicians for this, would this have been included in the bill? Maybe not. But anyway, the Supreme Court on Monday agreed to hear a Republican-led challenge to federal campaign finance limits that restrict how much political parties can spend to support their candidates. The case, National Republican Senatorial Committee versus Federal Election Commission, was brought by the National Republican Senatorial Committee, the NRCC, so the NRSC, the NRCC, and on behalf of two Senate Republican candidates at the time, including now Vice President J.D. Vance, at issues whether the spending caps violate First Amendment free speech protections. Petitioners argue that the limits severely restrict political party committees from doing what the First Amendment entitles them to do, fully associate with and advocate for their own candidates for federal office. And this is what I don't agree with. Like, the fact that there's committees determining who to spend money on and not like the people themselves, this is how they can, they can tip the scales for whoever they want, even though it might not be the person that is most aligned with what the people want. A ruling from the court's 6-3 conservative majority could deliver another blow to the FEC Act, the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971, passed more than 50 years ago to regulate money in politics. They should remove money from politics. The Trump Justice Department has announced it will side with the NRSC in the case, an unusual step for administration to oppose an act of Congress, citing free speech concerns and calling it the rare case that warrants an exception to that general approach of defending federal laws. Is how people spend money, is that actually a free speech protected item? Like, that's a genuine question. I don't know. I'd have to ponder that one for a while. But the DNC, the DSCC, and the DCCC have asked to defend the lower court's 2024 ruling upholding the limits. It's just weird. The Republicans are going against the Democrats on opposite sides of this. That is interesting. Ramon 222, only private citizens should be eligible to contribute to campaigns. I agree with that. Everything should be grassroots. Let's see. I was going to talk. This is stuff I was prepping before the show, talking about the Senate negotiations. But then they voted on it. Lisa Murkowski, who placed a critical yes vote for President Donald Trump's domestic agenda bill after intense negotiations to win her support, told reporters afterward that she is not happy with the measure and hopes the House sends it back. We do not have a perfect bill by any stretch of the imagination. I agree with her there. Asked by CNN why she decided to vote for the bill despite her concerns with it, she said, because we have two options here, right? Kill it, and it's gone. Reflecting on the process, Murkowski added, this is probably the most difficult and agonizing legislative 24-hour period that I have encountered. I've been here quite a while. And you all know I've got a few battle scars underneath me. But I think I held my head up and made sure that the people of Alaska are not forgotten in this. Yeah, whatever. Republican leaders doubled the size of the rural hospital fund at the last minute to win over holdouts like Murkowski. That's what, so stupid. These big bills, they can include stuff to appease certain people to get their votes, even though the people might be objecting over legitimate concerns. Politics are so dirty and gross. Freaking hate it. Anyway, yeah, they passed the bill. Oh, here's one. Netanyahu is going to travel to the U.S. for meetings with Trump and Vance. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will travel to the U.S. next week to meet with Trump and key members of his cabinet. The meetings come in the wake of a great victory that we achieved in Operation Rising Lion. Netanyahu said at the start of government meeting, Netanyahu and Vice President J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and Pete Hegseth are also included in the talks. Meetings come after the U.S. strikes damaged Iran nuclear sites. It is interesting how we had such a big week last week. Last week was the Iran war week. That's all we talked about for an entire week. And this week, there hasn't been much talk about any of that stuff. It's all been the big, beautiful bill. It's just interesting how quickly people move on. Attention spans are so short. And I'm pretty sure I had a story about something. Oh, yeah, here we go. The New York Post. Apparently, Israeli court postpones Netanyahu's corruption trial. I'll get out of here, ad. How do I get rid of that? There we go. After Trump calls for case to be dropped. The Jerusalem District Court agreed to postpone Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's corruption trial just hours after President Trump called for the case to be dropped while suggesting American aid could hang in the balance over the decision. The court revealed Sunday that Netanyahu will not have to testify for the next 2 weeks due to diplomatic and national security issues, 2 days after the judge initially rejected the premier's repeated request to have the trial delayed. The new order came after Trump took to Truth Social and slammed the corruption trial. So they're just postponing it for 2 weeks, it looks like. It's not very long. I am curious to see how that gets played out. Dr. Emily, politics are dirty and gross. We should put that on a t-shirt, right? Manipulant says missile alerts just happened in Israel. Of course they did. Oh, there was a story. I wonder if I got that pulled up here. Hold for process. Let me find it. Here we go. From The Hill, Iran-linked hackers threatened to release Trump aides' emails report. A hacking group linked to Iran is threatening to release emails from the accounts of several top aides to President Trump, according to Reuters. Isn't it funny how Iran is like these hackers are telling a news organization, Reuters, that they're threatening to release emails? Like, why would they know? Why are they so comfortable coming to Reuters and telling them the story? Iran hackers have threatened to disclose more emails stolen from U.S. President Donald Trump's circle after distributing a prior batch to the media ahead of 2024 election. The Vance dossier was posted online. I remember reading through that. In online chats with Reuters on Sunday and Monday, the hackers, who go by Robert, said they had roughly 100 gigabytes of emails from the accounts of White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Trump lawyer Lindsey Halligan, Trump advisor Roger Stone, and porn star turned Trump antagonist Stormy Daniels. Why would they have her emails? Robert raised the possibility of selling the material, but otherwise did not provide details of their plans. The hackers did not describe the content of the emails. Pam Bondi described the intrusion as an unconscionable cyber attack. The White House and FBI responded with a statement from FBI Director Kash Patel, who said, anyone associated with any kind of breach of national security will be fully investigated and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. CC Reuters, who's like Reuters is literally, if the story is to be believed and true, they're talking to cyber hackers, cyber terrorists. Just like it's no big deal. It's crazy. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, that's maybe all. But yeah, it's interesting stuff. The whole Iran saga, going back to Trump's first term, and even going back before that to Obama when he was in office with the Iran nuclear deal. It's it can be a head scratcher at times. E.H. Kyle says, John, I was surprised that you were unaware of Alan the Falconer. He's been around whistleblowing and all that stuff since Trump's first admin. Yeah, Trump's first admin, I wasn't really paying attention. And I do remember the Falconer thing. I think Ghost may have mentioned him at some point on a show. So I remember discussing the falconing stuff. So I know I've heard of him, but I wasn't aware of his work too in depth. Ty, John, did I miss you talking about Horowitz appointed by Powell as IG of the Federal Reserve? June 6th took effect yesterday. Yeah, we here. So oops, hold on. I gotta archive this. Justice Department's Inspector General to move to the Federal Reserve. And let me show you a little clip, Ty, from a while back. Let's see, which one is it? There we go. I may not have talked about it on this show. I think I did, but this is a clip from the Power Hour back. It was like 3 weeks ago or something. Michael Horowitz.
Oh, yeah.
Was named Inspector General of the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve has appointed Michael Horowitz as its new Inspector General, replacing Mark Bielek, who retired in April after serving the role since 2011. In addition to overseeing the Fed, Horowitz will act as the independent watchdog for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Horowitz previously served as Inspector General at the Department of Justice, where he led oversight of the COVID-19 pandemic relief spending and chaired all the. I won't read the rest of it, but this is the part that I'm most curious about. Is if, anyway, yeah, we did discuss that. It is interesting. He's going over there. Had a good interaction on Twitter with Joe Lang. So I encourage you guys to check that out. For newcomers to the chat, I want to welcome you personally. And for those who are regulars in the chat, make sure you guys are welcoming to the newcomers. We like our friends. So thank you, everybody. Let's see what else I got for you. I don't have much else. Oh yeah, I do. Here, here's something Trump said about alligator Alcatraz. This is pretty funny.
Is it a dream come true for you? Sure. I was thinking about that. Like I said, it was meant more as a joke, but the more I thought of it, and they were serious. They were actually crocodiles. They were crocodiles from Africa. They are a step beyond. No, that was really meant as a joke, but a lot of people liked it. A lot of people really did.
Yeah, Trump being down there for the opening of Alligator Alcatraz, honestly, it was a pretty impressive feat for them to get that thing up and running that quickly. It took like 8 days, and they said they could have got it done even quicker if it wasn't for the basically red tape they had to go through. They said they could have got it done in 3 days or something. So I thought that was interesting. This is a big one. I'm a little skeptical. MTG posts about it. I think Zach was telling me about this before the show, and there's another story he was telling me about the show having to do with our elections and Trump's election executive order from this term, and I couldn't find anything on it. But this is out there. So our rep MTG says, I just got off the phone with President Trump. I told him about my new bill I'm introducing that will save America's elections from ever being stolen again. My bill will require the U.S. Census Bureau to conduct a new census immediately upon enactment of the bill. In conducting the new census of the U.S. population, it shall require questions determining the citizenship of each individual and count U.S. citizens only. Upon completion of the census, the bill will direct states to immediately begin a redistricting of all U.S. House seats process using only the population of the U.S. citizens, so excluding aliens. Thank you, President Trump, for your strong support of my bill, making American elections great again. So I love the idea of this bill, no doubt. It's great. This would, any of these blue states with just tons, millions of illegal aliens, this would affect them. But considering the makeup of the House and the Senate, this will likely pass the House. It won't pass the Senate. It'll be highly partisan. They won't get enough votes in the Senate. It's not going to pass. So it's a great bill. I just don't see how it passes with the current makeup. Like most things. Most of Trump's agenda, and this is the one thing I come back to, and I said it yesterday, I don't like the bill that we're getting, the big, beautiful bill, but the way they're doing it through a reconciliation process where you have to negotiate all these things, you're going to get a bunch of bad stuff in there. But apparently it's the only way we can actually codify Trump's agenda, because we're not going to be able to codify it through the regular single line vote items. And I raised the question yesterday, if that's the case, why is that the case? Why can't we do it that way? It's because our elections are fake. And how are we to fix our elections when the people aren't going to vote on stuff like this to actually fix our elections? So while I think this is a great idea, I don't see how it actually passes. Just the skeptic in me. I apologize for being so skeptical sometimes. But there was this, Peter Berniger. He's a pretty good follow on Twitter. I know CanCon and Ash have had him on. He was on our election night coverage as well. He's the president of Election Watch, Inc. He says, huge breaking. Logs obtained from ESNS voting system show votes being injected well in excess of ballots cast at the county level. I'm not going to go into the details like this a lot. So But that's big news, and I would encourage you to watch Why We Vote on Friday, when they will likely cover this. We did get the Idaho College murder suspect. He pled guilty to all 4 deaths in exchange for not being executed. He avoided the death penalty for doing so. This kind of felt like went under the radar. I hadn't heard about this in a while, like this case. And there was some weird stuff, like he got big on, I think, TikTok and social media about how he was actually innocent and it was one of the roommates. And I don't know, apparently there's enough evidence against him that he was going to be charged. So he decided to go for it. Ramon222 says, Berniger is amazing. Dude has been on election fraud and cheating for years. Yeah. The bunny. So the bunny is the one who like heads up all of our Badlander groups, which, by the way, you should shoot me a text, Bunny, because we got some news. We're going to be making it easier for people to find their Badlanders group. We're going to integrate it with our website a little more. But yeah, she's great. So if you haven't been to one of those Badlands meetups, I'd encourage you to do so. And one of these days, we're going to get Bunny on a show with a couple other Badlander group leaders, and we're going to talk about the process and how awesome they are. It's just great. Let's keep going here. I think I'm getting close to the end here. Yeah, I think I just got I got this. This is crazy. I'm gonna show you guys this. There's a new soccer league, an AI controlled robot soccer league in Beijing, and it's kind of hilarious. So what they're saying, though, is the guy who founded it says robots' abilities will exponentially increase over time and will eventually challenge adult teams like humans. We chose the football scenario for robot competition primarily for 2 reasons. First, to encourage students to apply their algorithmic skills to real-world robotics. Second, to showcase the robot's ability to walk autonomously and stably, withstand collisions, and demonstrate higher levels of intelligence and safety. And so, are you guys in favor of AI sports, like robot sports? Because that's eventually where it's going to go too, as this stuff develops. I think this is ridiculous, but this is going to be part of the future. Like eventually, we're going to have like a robot league, and the champion of the robot league will play the champion of the human league. You guys just wait. But I think it's funny they're like taking people off like that on stretchers. So that happens in real life when people get fake injured. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for today. So I will I'll wrap it up here. Let me see if we got any rants. I'd read Ty Indie Boys about baseless conspiracies last night. I do encourage you to go watch that. Melon Ryan says the CDC hid the effects of Agent Orange on Vietnam vets for decades. Yeah, they like to hide stuff, don't they? I did see another one come in. Artsy Joan, welcome new baddies. Yeah, welcome everybody who is new to the chat. And then EC was here as honorary chairman of the welcoming committee. I wish to extend this laurel and a hearty handshake to our new chatters. Welcoming, love it. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tonight on Onlylands. Let me see if there's anything else going on today. Geopolitics with Ghosts. He's going live right after this. So maybe I'll send you guys over there with a raid. We also got Badlands Book Club tonight, Brad and Abby Live, Badlands Story Hour, and then Onlylands. So you guys have a good rest of your day. I will catch you next time.
0, 1, extra, read all about it. 2, 3. Let's get started.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.
Why this
up in me.